What's a superhero's driving force as well as weakness? Family issues. Peel off the mask of any cape and tights, and you'll find their psyche plagued with an assortment of daddy issues, warfare with siblings, and at times a dark attachment to mommy. Seems like you can't even wear a mask until you fulfill certain criteria of dysfunction.
Cast you out!
IndieWire and the playlist have put together 10 who just can't seem to get away from their family tree. Number 10, Ghost Rider. What's the issue? I love my father very much, but when he got cancer, I gave my soul to the devil to heal him. Unfortunately, the devil's deal was rotten, and he immediately killed my father soon after. We don't talk about my dad much. In the first film, Blaze is long removed from the tragedy. His vague insanity, watching monkey videos and eating jelly beans from a champagne glass.
Mac, you touch the Carpenters or that chimp video again, and we got a scrap on our hands.
Couldn't possibly be seen as dissociative traits or time in mourning. I mean, this dude's a scary stunt biker. Eventually, through his new kinship with an older rider, he reaffirms his new adult identity as a hero. In the second film, Blaze is now a haunted ghost of sorts, and the guy's doomed, but he seems to handle it pretty well. Number 9, Daredevil. What's the issue? My father was a mob enforcer when a tragic accident blinded me. He went back into boxing to help keep me on the straight and narrow away from the criminal element. This got him killed by his former employer, so naturally I kind of felt like this is my fault. Woo! Ain't no guilt quite like Catholic guilt. Jack Murdock's death leads young Matt to become the Daredevil, a hero who seeks vengeance against those that evade justice.
What do you want? Justice.
The hero's name is taken from a nickname given to his dad, the first of several complex links to his father.
This is for you, Dad.
One of the side effects to Matt's accident is increased senses, and you get the feeling that includes enhanced angst as well.
You killed the only two people I ever loved.
Basically, Dee Dee ain't the type to lighten the mood.
Time to give the devil his due!
Number 8, Blade. What's the issue? My mother got bitten by a vampire while pregnant and died giving birth to me. I was born a daywalker, a vampire who can walk in the daylight, passing as a human, while also existing in the underworld where almost every other bloodsucker is white Euro trash. Well, how does he cope? Blade doesn't cope. Blade just slices fools up. Believing he's a loner and completely separate from the vamps in their world,
There are worse things out tonight than vampires.
Like what?
Like me.
he later learns that his mother was actually bitten by his nemesis, Deacon Frost, making that thug the closest thing to a father.
Little bitch.
Further complicating matters is the fact that Frost has kept Blade's mother alive all these years, and when she comes face to face with her son, she wants him to end her life as Frost's slave. That's some dark shit.
Some motherfucker always trying to ice skate uphill.
Number 7, Silk Spectre. What's the issue? I never knew my father. I was forced to follow in my mother's crime-fighting footsteps, and though I relate to my mother's feminism, I don't with her, liberated sexuality and bad taste in men.
What the hell are you doing here? You knew I was changing.
Now that I'm grown up, retired, and moved on, I'm pissed off that she still hangs out with the skis ball that she used to work with. Say, you don't think he's my dad?
Are there no jets you won't sing to?
Jesus Christ, Sally. And the guy I talked to is old friend's daughter.
Nah. It's the original Spectre's stage mom complex and past secret affairs that caused Spectre 2's mommy and daddy issues, identity crisis, and man problems.
Didn't want to disappoint Mother.
Thankfully, all this drama for your mama made her more compassionate for humanity, and she convinces a past flame, Dr. Manhattan, to help her in saving mankind.
Why would I save the world? I no longer have any stake in.
And she ends up with a nice guy Night Owl. Awesome. Number 6, Wolverine. What's the issue? I don't know, bub. I have amnesia. Wolverine has lived multiple lives over a couple hundred years, and his history is so convoluted. The little truth we do know is that Wolverine was a sickly boy that resulted from a farmhouse affair. One that left him with the feral Sabretooth as a brother. After witnessing Sabretooth easily off too many people over the course of a few world wars, Wolverine distances himself from his psychotic brother. This plays out fatally years later, when Wolverine's girlfriend is murdered by Sabretooth, causing him to declare all-out war on his own brother. God.
You even know how to kill me. I'm gonna cut your head off. See if that works.
Number 5, Iron Man. What's the issue? My wealth and genius are unparalleled, though I inherited both from my booze-head dad, whom I was never close with in my youth.
Tony, what are you doing back there? What is that? Put that back. Put it back where you got it from.
Retroactively, I question his influence, given that he trusted an obviously insane rival with company finances, one who later tried to kill me. How does he cope? Booze and boobs. Tony Stark is known as quite the loose cannon and playboy.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
And though it's never quite spoken out loud in the films quite the way it is in the comics, Tony Stark is also an alcoholic. And though there's still a lot we don't know about Howard Stark, who seemed to love the bottle just as much as his son Tony. Thank God Pepper Potts came in and whipped him into shape.
What's going on here?
Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
Number 4, Spider-Man. What's the issue? I never knew my parents, nor do I even know what happened to them. I guess things are okay with my Aunt May, who helped raise me into the man I am today, but I committed a selfish act and my uncle died as a result.
Uncle Ben! Call an ambulance!
In the Sam Raimi films, Spidey is relatively well adjusted. He takes responsibility for Uncle Ben's death, but his search for a father figure is mostly an afterthought.
You know how much I sacrificed?
In Mark Webb's versions, young Peter Parker is an outcast at school and at home, regularly giving lip to Uncle Ben and Aunt May as he backburners them in a quest for information about his late parents.
Dr. Connors, I'm Richard Parker's son.
Number 3, Superman! What's the issue? My mother and father basically abandoned me as an infant by sending me to another planet, so I've never known anyone from my race, making me an orphan in the extreme sense. My adoptive parents on Earth tried their best to raise me, but my new dad passed at a young age, thankfully after imparting wisdom about coping with who I am.
I have to believe that you were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes the rest of your life, you owe it to yourself to find out what that reason is.
The recent Superman seems to be trying to cope and get past his own absent parentage by assuming a patriarchal role towards humanity. Give or take a few thousand corpses. We thank you. Number 2, Thor. What's the issue? I really only have my job because of my father.
You are a vain, greedy, cruel boy.
I'm not sure if I want to take over for him when he's gone. I like being out in the field too much. Also, I just found out my pain-in-the-ass brother, who I guess has his own issues, isn't exactly related to me by blood. He's pretty genocidal, but I don't know. We're still brothers. Thor's differences with Father Odin are classic generational divides.
You are an old man and a fool! You're unworthy! Father.
That conflict continues in the second film, as Thor's romance with Earth's Jane Foster registers as an annoyance to Odin. Thor also has to cope with the scheming of his brother Loki, who is threatening Earth in The Avengers. Thus, the majority of The Dark World is spent with Thor constantly second-guessing his brother.
You must be truly desperate to come to me for help.
But both are eventually forced into making an alliance fueled by their mutual sadness over their mother's murder.
I know you seek vengeance as much as I do. You helped me escape Asgard and I will grant it to you. Vengeance.
When do we start?
Number 1, Batman. What's the issue? I completely wussed out as a kid and made my parents leave early from a show. They got mugged and killed. And I blamed myself and vowed that would never happen to anyone else, even though eradicating crime in Gotham City is like polishing the silverware with nukes. The Burton Batman, that one's a real head case. It's a guy who has so internalized his fears and feelings about bats that he sleeps upside down after sex. And he treats his beloved butler Alfred less as a father figure and more as a nattering hindrance.
Cold. It's fishy swirl, sir. It's supposed to be cold.
Nolan's Batman differs because his psychosis seems more relatable and thus more tragic. He is the fate of the family business and his city on his shoulders, and as long as the bat signal beams up, he must lead a life of secrecy.
Guy dresses up like a bat clearly has issues.
This is just the first 10 of a list that could easily have added another 10. Captain America, the Hulk, the Punisher, all of the X-Men. What are some of your favorite superheroes and villains with issues? Like, subscribe, and let us know.